Tonight on the docket, Vice President Biden resumed his debt negotiations with Republicans this afternoon. It's the first of three that will take place this week. But what's to come of these talks, and can any progress be made as long as the Obama administration is in denial about entitlement reforms and remains ignorant of Economics 101? In the course of this week, the Republicans hope that their plans to stop the government's fiscal follies will get more than just the vice president's attention. Their solution is simple. The federal government must stop borrowing, and it must spend less than it collects in taxes. Some want to do this through legislation, and some want to do it through a balanced budget amendment. To discuss the status of the deficit reduction negotiations, here a man who believes that the federal government is out of control. Here now, Georgia Republican Congressman Tom Graves. Congressman Graves, it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to Freedom Watch.
Thank you. Good to be with you, Judge.
What do you know, what can you tell us happened, if anything, today in the conversations between Vice President Biden, the Democratic leadership in the Senate, and the Republican leadership in the House in an effort to come to some meeting of the minds as to whether the debt ceiling should be raised at all, and if so, under what circumstances?
Well, I can't speak to the specifics of what the conversations might have been, but I can tell you what I hope was a part of those conversations, and that's the plan that we put forward as conservatives in the House of Representatives, and that's a plan to cut, cap, and balance here in the federal government. Very simple plan. Look, let's cut the deficit in half in 2012. Let's cap spending at 18% of GDP. Let's build that box, in essence, in which government has to fit in. And then let's pass a balanced budget amendment, send it to the states, because I can tell you this, all across America, people expect the federal government to balance its budget just like they do at home.
Do you expect President Obama and Vice President Biden and Majority Leader Harry Reid to submit a budget that's balanced, or is anywhere close to the one you're just describing, Congressman Graves?
Well, you know, if history it shares with us anything, I would say that they're probably not inclined to do that. You know, it's clear that they want to raise taxes. They want to continue the spending levels that we've seen. They had an opportunity to cut spending through H.R. 1, but again, they wanted to compromise. And again, when I look at that, they're just compromising America's future, our children and our grandchildren's future. But we're going to hold strong. I mean, the House Republicans have a very strong contingent of 103 members who signed a letter to our leadership saying that is the path that we need to move towards if we're going to save this nation from the fiscal mess that lies ahead.
And if the president does not propose, or the Republican leadership does not go along with a cap on spending, a serious reduction in the deficit for next year, will you and those other 102 Republicans vote against raising the debt ceiling?
I think you will see many members in the Republican conference stand very firm on this, because this is such an important time in our history. And we're not in a position to yield in any way. When I think about my three children at home, I mean, that's who we're asking to take the burden forward for us if we don't do something significant now. So I think you're going to see many House Republicans stand very firm on this, which gives our leadership plenty of support. We are standing right behind them saying, look, this is the time in which to push forward bold proposals, and we've provided that proposal.
Switching gears a little bit, you voted against the Patriot Act. Why did you do that, Congressman?
You know, we had a great conversation about that. You know, I'm one who wants to err on the side of the American people. I want to err on the side of liberty. And, you know, I had concerns, as did many of my colleagues, as about how did that infringe upon the constitutional rights that we have as law-abiding citizens. And since then, we've even taken a step further. As you know, the President used the Autopen to sign the Patriot Act. And, you know, that's something that clearly is unconstitutional in itself as well. And we've asked for the President to verify with us how can he constitutionally sign a piece of legislation with an auto pen, and in essence a surrogate of all things assigned to sign a piece of legislation. So you know, something that I don't support, and I think there are many Republicans that felt the same way.
I'm going to guess that you don't support the FBI being able to go through people's trash and monitor their use of computers without a search warrant, or without even any suspicion about them as well.
You're absolutely right, Judge. Yes.
All right, Congressman, I agree with you on all that, and I commend your courage on it. The Patriot Act thing is very troubling. One wonders if it ever actually was signed into law, since the president wasn't in the United States, and as you say, he never put pen to paper, as every president has done to every piece of legislation in the history of the country before this one. What do you think? Is it valid law, or isn't it?
Well, you know, I have serious concerns about it, and I've raised those concerns to the president, and I've yet to get a response from he or his Autopen as to whether or not that is constitutional. But it raises a serious question about executive orders, military orders, pardons, those things which are designated to the president. But more importantly, you know, the president is the last stop. He's the one who accepts the responsibility for the actions that are being taken. In order to do that, he must affix his seal, his approval, his signature to that. Our president chose not to.
Congressman Tom Graves, it's a pleasure. You're always welcome here on Freedom Watch.